everybody, Tom Marks, PC editor for IGN, here to take another look at the Cyberpunk 2077 E3 reveal trailer. I got to see the behind closed doors demo of Cyberpunk 2077, and I want to break down for you what we see in this trailer and what I saw in the demo that's similar, so that, you know, we still can't show gameplay. CD Projekt Red hasn't released that, but there are a lot of clues and a lot of things that I saw live in that gameplay demo that are here. So let's go through some of them. First off, right away, this map of Night City. Night City, we know, is the location of the game. This metro map, actually, you can see at the top left, there's an area called Watson. That's actually where the main character is. So everything we saw in the demo started at V, the main character's apartment, and went out from Watson. So let's move forward from there. It's, you know, like I said, there's a lot in this demo that we see here. First off, that collar and this character is actually V. That's not just like a cool cinematic jacket, right? Like, that was the jacket that V was wearing in the demo we saw. Although when we saw it, it was a female V, which actually shows up later in this trailer as well. So let's pause it here. This city street is not dissimilar to what we walked out on in that demo as well. Obviously, this is a cutscene rather than, or some type of cutscene or graphic rather than live gameplay, but this isn't far off. Like, it felt like that many people just kind of walking around feels pretty accurate to what I saw. Similarly, some of these characters are characters that were in the demo. So that guy in the Rascal scooter, you can see in kind of the back left, there he is. He was walking around, he was scooting around in the apartment complex that V is from.
Everybody still wants to live here.
Some other things as well, like that elevator that you can see right there. You actually use those elevators. One of the things that Cyberpunk has going for it is it does these very vertical maps. You're exploring up and down floors of buildings, and those elevators are going to help you get you there. This character right here isn't a character we saw in the game, but looks very, very similar to one that we did interact with in the demo. You talk to this Militech. Militech is this mega corporation that creates all these military weapons. You talk to a Militech agent, take a quest from them, basically, do a quest for them, do a little deal, and with a Militech agent named Meredith Stout, kind of dressed similarly. This idea of there being this higher elite kind of factions within this society. You can see another one here. These are these corporation people that you're going to be interacting with. This isn't just a slice of life look at the world of Cyberpunk. Like, these are characters within this game.
Just around the corner.
Moving a little forward, we actually see our first character that we did see in the demo. This is Jackie Wells. Jackie was kind of your sidekick within the game and within the demo. He was, quipping with you, he was making jokes, you were chatting along with him. So this is a character that you're going to see in this game. This could be a cutscene. We don't know that for sure, but this could be something that you just see in Cyberpunk while you're playing in between moments. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Moving forward, again, these are not situations that we saw directly, right? Like, we weren't in these alleys, we weren't in this bar, but it is representative. So this guy right here fighting this robot, that we did see. Like, we literally saw him boxing a robot as we walked out of our apartment. He was just kind of in this building. So this area of this game, of the video, is just a few floors down from V's apartment. It's a real place that they just kind of captured much, much nicer for this trailer rather than it being a real sort of gameplay vision. Similarly, this character right here, we didn't see her directly, but we did see another guy who was missing the top half of his head in a very similar way, or it was, I guess, the top front quarter of his head. It was just like a section of it was gone. He was this big brute in a gang called the Maelstrom Gang that you go to deal with later, which we'll talk about in just a moment as well, because there was more of the Maelstrom Gang in this trailer. I think they're probably going to be a recurring part of the game, and this character really, really reminded me of Flathead, that kind of menacing guy within it. Here we see V looking over Night City, and this car, once again, it says that there's driving in the game, but more than that, this is literally the car that they were driving in the demo. This is not just some sort of, fancy hot rod just for looks. One thing that struck me about Cyberpunk is actually it is cars. It's not as many flying cars. And as we go back and look here, you can see this gun is actually Militech brand. I don't remember this gun specifically being used in the demo, but it's not far off from stuff you will see. Similarly, hey look, a little spider robot. This spider robot, once again, isn't just a cool thing to set up the world of this game. Literally, we saw this spider robot in the demo. We went to the Maelstrom Gang for this quest to kind of buy it off of them. So it was a black market deal where we were trying to get the spider robot, and when we did actually get it, we got a chip that we put in our head, and then it was an item, right? It was following us around and fighting for us. Another character directly from the game, like Jackie, was the character on the side. His name is Dexter DeSean. He's a fixer. And basically what that means is somebody that gets stuff done or hires people to get stuff done because you are a mercenary. So you take a job from Dexter, you get into a limo with him, and he explains the job as you drive around the block, and then you get out, and that's a real character within the game. You're going to see him with his golden arm and his kind of badass look giving you jobs as you play. Here's another glimpse of something we actually saw and used in the demo. This shotgun is what's called a Tec Shotgun. They used it to blow through cover. So it was very similar to a normal shotgun, but when they fired it, you could actually mark people, look through cover to see them, and then shoot them through that cover. So that Tec Shotgun is something that you will be able to play with in almost that exact same model. Similarly, some of these pistols we saw similar variants of. This is a trauma team. We've talked about trauma teams before in our other rewind of Cyberpunk 2077 trailer, which I highly recommend you look at because it goes deep into some of the lore that we can learn from the old game. But trauma teams are basically highly armed medical teams. They save people's lives, but they also have to end lives to do it. We saw a trauma team in the demo kind of come down in a flying car. You can see that flying car up at the top left of the screen, and that you'll see that in action later too in this trailer. Here's another look at the Maelstrom Gang, though, or at least what I think it is. The facility that you were buying the spider robot from looked very similar to this. It was kind of fighting through this abandoned warehouse, and you can see some of these guys. They all have those orange eyes, right? Where it's not really eyes. It's they've replaced them. And that's kind of the whole thing what the Maelstrom Gang is doing, is they're replacing bodies parts to the point where they're basically just becoming robots, and it's sort of a creepy thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if these guys are actually just Maelstrom Gang models that you fight in the game and that we saw fight. Similar again to the Maelstrom Gang, when you are at their hideout, they get raided by Militech and they hack the system, and there's one guy actually plugged into a computer during that time. And when they get hacked by Militech, he starts sparking and going crazy exactly like this guy in the background. So again, that's a thing you're gonna see happen. Not exactly like that in the trailer, but this thing is not crazy, right? It's actually possible. Again, here is V. We talked about the female version of V. This is another version of V. This is the V that we actually saw fighting through our demo with that same collar and that same kind of look. She didn't look exactly like this. There is character customization in the game. You'll be able to put tattoos and change how you look, have little robot parts and change your face and all that jazz. But this is pretty similar to the model we saw for our demo. Here's a person getting their eye horribly ripped out. The demo also has a scene where you go to a Ripper dock to get a new eye, and you install a new one. It wasn't as horrible as this. It was more of a medical procedure. This looks like a mugging or something like that. But swapping eyes is not uncommon within the Cyberpunk world. Here's that Tec Shotgun in action, and we'll play that back again because it's so glorious. That kind of blue flash, that's actually what that gun looks like when you fire it. And you can see it's similar because it's got those bumps on the gun barrel. That's really what distinguishes this as the Tec Shotgun to me. It was a very, very cool looking weapon. It doesn't just look like a shotgun. Similarly, you can see this other shoplifter or whatever it is has these Mantis Blade arms. That's what that blade coming out is. You can remember also the Mantis Blade from the very first Cyberpunk 2077 trailer from 5 years ago. That woman has those blades. We also did an unboxing of a statue that has those blades, and we saw those blades used in game. They said it's kind of a later game augment, a later game ability that you can get, but it was this crazy cool kind of melee attack system where they were jumping off walls and stabbing people real big, and it was pretty nuts. Here's the trauma team we were talking about, but right before we do that, let's go back just a moment, and there, do you see in the background that billboard says, "Feel the chemistry, Nicola." Nicola was a soda drink, maybe nicotine-based, that you actually bought in-game in this demo. So there's this weird thing where you can go up to signs like this, advertisements, and if you click them, you interact with them, they actually tell you where to buy the thing. So they clicked the sign that said Nicola, walked over to a vending machine, bought one, put it in their inventory, and said, we'll save that for later, and we can drink it another time. Probably gives you some sort of boost or health or something like that, along the lines of normal RPG consumables. And here's the Trauma team unleashing hell on this unsuspecting group. They flew one of these exact ships. So in the demo, they they do a similar thing, right? Where they fly in and you've saved this person and you put them on this ship and they take them away and save the day. Although you did all the heavy lifting. This gun we didn't actually see exactly, but again, I think every weapon in this trailer I think it's a safe assumption that you will get to fire that weapon at some point. You see, it's got this big magazine with all these rounds in it. I would be hard-pressed to imagine that you don't get to fire that at some point. And now V driving off in the car. Again, this is the actual car that you drive, and one of the things that happens is you see V starts getting tailed by this black van. That also happened in the demo. There was a driving scene, and this van came up, and people busted out of it and started shooting at you through the back window, and you had to actually hand the wheel to Jackie Wells, and you leaned out the window and started shooting people in the van. So I think vehicular combat like this is not going to be uncommon either. That's about what we saw in the Cyberpunk 2077 demo. I mean, there's a ton of stuff in this trailer that obviously wasn't in the demo. Similarly, there was a ton of stuff in the demo that wasn't in the trailer. So if you want to see their full impressions of the Cyberpunk 2077 E3 demo, or you want to hear about how CD Projekt has responded to the controversy about people being unhappy it's first person, and anything else Cyberpunk, make sure you stay right here on IGN.